example, like say for instance, like example, there's like a particular person in your neighborhood. You two may have been friends before, right? But circumstances came out a certain way, and now you don't deal with this individual no more. However, when you're outside or when you're out in your yard, this person attempts to still come up to you, and it's like they're more aggressive now. Like they're trying to make you give them attention. You see, they're trying to make you acknowledge them. They're trying to those particular things there. Like me, in certain instances, especially when I'm teaching, I'm more aggressive in ways. And the reason why that aggression is there is because I'm attempting to get across to my students that, okay, even though this is practice, we got to make this real when we spar or when we do this and when we do that, because if I don't give you the real simulation, then I'm not going to have you prepared. And they're saying you're going to be wasting your money and still get your butt whooped. That's not a good investment.
Now, quick question. When it comes to martial arts, is the training all about how to physically defend yourself, or is there a big mental piece in with the training as well?
Well, here's the thing. Let's say you're in a situation and the fight cannot be avoided, and you have to punch and or kick, elbow, or knee this person. One thing the mental training in martial arts does is this. Like, say, for instance, when you first come to me, right, you can barely make the pad or shield move. As you go through training, because one of the things I teach is visualization, okay? So from there with the visualization, you energize your muscles through a mental piece and get stronger. You get more accurate. Then it comes to the point, too, where you know which punch is going to hurt a person versus another. So that mental piece trains you to be your own weapon. Okay, for example, let's say, for instance, another example, the 5'7" person versus a person that's 6'2". Now, of course, the person who's 6'2" is going to have the reach advantage. But all the advantage is not on the 6'2" person's side. Now, what the person who's shorter can do is this. When you know how to hit, or hit with meaning, or hit with meaning like Bruce Lee says, you can clock this dude in the thigh or the knee or hit him or stomp their foot. That makes all their aggression goes out the window. Because one thing that pain does, pain will take your mind off an immediate objective.
It definitely will.
It'll take
pain
your mind
takes
off
over.
It'll take over, especially when you get hit in the nose, because you get that mushed up feeling, and now your eyes are watering, and you feel like you don't know whether your nose is broken, but you feel all this heat and swelling.
Oh, okay.
Right. Well, you can tell I went through that, right?
Oh, okay. Okay.
So
okay.
What this does is the fact when you really know how to break down a person like fractions, it don't matter what size you are.
Oh, okay.
On your if you're trained correctly, it don't matter. Because most people would think, well, I got to hit this taller person in the face or in the chest. No, you don't.
There's other points on the body that you can hit them. Okay.
And those other points, especially the lower extremities, are going to cause a heck of a lot more pain than the ones up top. So when you know how to hit and you know how to move or you learn your footwork, you're dangerous.
Okay. That hand-eye coordination.
Right.
Okay, this is some of the final questions that I have. Now, earlier we was talking about the bullying piece. You had mentioned mind control and the art of manipulation. Is there a difference? Is there a difference between being manipulated and being bullied?
Well, once again, when we look at that mentally or metaphysically, they're all one and the same.
It is, okay.
Because in order to control or at least give the illusion of control of another person, you have to manipulate their mind. For example, let's say, for instance, if I say I'm a doctor, even though I may not have the paperwork, but I can make myself sound so much like a doctor. I know all the terms, I know all the lingo and all of this stuff, and I know the name of a couple of medicines. Now, if I'm in a room with someone who's not knowledgeable of that, I can sound like I'm a doctor, and I can, through manipulation, I can allow them to think that that's what I am. So the same thing with a bully. I have to use my mental power as well. I have to use induction. Induction is a term used in the mental sciences when you wish to create a certain emotional response inside of a person.
Okay.
So in order for me to allow you to generate fear, I don't make you fear. You generate fear. So in order for me to do what I got to do to allow you to generate fear, I have to scare you. I have to make you think that anytime I get ready, I can take you out. So I'm going to use words like I'm going to call you the N-word, or I'm going to call you the sissy, I'm going to call you a punk, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to step up in your face. I'm going to try to look down on you. I'm going to blow the hot breath in your face. Anything that's going to allow you to be like, oh, man, this cat can take me out.
Or indirectly forces you to submit to their will.
Exactly.
Okay. So how do we deal with these type of behaviors? Like, in terms of some final tips that you could hook us up with before I go into this announcement, how do we deal with that if we're being, as adults specifically? Because some of our situations are not as physical as some of the things that may have been going on with kids. I haven't been physically, thank goodness, bullied in over 20 years. But in terms of mentally being bullied, I come across encounters of that every day.
Yeah, I mean,
from people you know to strangers.
Shoot,
somebody tried to book
from the manager at McDonald's.
Oh, not even that. You can deal with that with a customer at the counter of a gas pump. Because this gentleman a few weeks ago tried to bully me into my business. I had on a certain color clothing, and he was inquiring about where I worked, and he was like, well, do you work at a bakery? And I was like, why? You know, and then it became, then it was like, well, just tell me where you work. And I'm like, I don't talk to strangers. What's happening?
And see, I'm glad you said, now repeat that again. So repeat that same thing again so the people
When I offered him resistance in terms of telling him my personal business, he became very aggressive and forceful with it. Now, even though on one end, what this man was saying to me, he just, I guess, wanted to strike up a conversation for whatever reason. But he approached me saying, you know, I had white on, and he was like, oh, you must work in the bakery. And no, he said, what bakery do you work in? And I said, why? And then he said, I wasn't that obviously much good of a mood, but the thing that was interesting to me, he didn't say, oh, because I work in the bakery also, whatever. He was like, just tell me what bakery you work in. And that's when it got uncomfortable for me. And I was like, I do not talk to strangers. I don't tell strangers my personal business. But to just give a very elementary example of how people may want things from you, and sometimes it doesn't even have to be as complicated or tangible as whether they want your money. Some people just want your attention.
Yes.
It's that elementary. They just want to be up in your face.
Right.
And it's interesting because I got bullied a few years, well, actually last year. I was coming out of a comedy environment, I'll just say that, you know, and somebody was talking to me and they were standing too close to me. I was smelling their breath. And my whole thing was, you know, I kept on backing up, trying to reposition myself. But then it got to a point where I was like, you know what, I'm not backing up no more. You standing too close to me. What's happening? I shouldn't be smelling your breath on no how you doing? I'm good. How are you? You know, and then the person was like, well, I'm not backing up off you. What do you want to do? And I was like, oh, okay, it's like this, so I got to fight now. I mean, it's ridiculous. I know these examples may not be that contemporary, for a better word, but my point is that, you know, some of these situations, as elementary as they are people attempting to bully us in a nutshell because they want us to submit to their will, period. Whether they want some energy from us, some time from us, some cash from us, or they want us to do something for them, which may be indirectly some type of service. I mean, it could be sex. It could be, I mean, it ranges. But the bottom line is that when people want us to do things that we don't want to do, and we fully communicate that, and they still attempt to persuade us through the art of manipulation, or some of the things that Amin Ra has previously mentioned, these are bullying situations.
Yes.
So now, as adults, in terms of a non-physical game, how do we deal with it? In your assessment, if you can hook us up with some tips before you exit.
Okay, first off, like what you explained in your scenario, the first thing you do is assert your power, no matter how big the person is or how intimidating they are. Assert your power and be like, yo, you either too close or I'm not telling you nothing, I don't know you, blah. Whatever you got to do, assert your power. Now, even though they're going to get aggressive and probably talk more, but what's going to happen is the more you resist, your power is going to build up. And I've seen it happen countless times. Like, you know, there's been times where in the past where I let a person just talk. And it's almost like mentally something was just mashing me down, like, oh, you little, okay? However, when you resist and be like, whatever, get out my face, blah, 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 you start to build up that power, that heat comes in, or that chi, and now it's time for fight or flight. Okay? So you have to be resistant regardless.
Is it dangerous or maybe not the best thing to do if you're in a situation where you're experiencing pressure to do something you don't want to do? What is the, I guess, result or possible result of submitting to bullies? Does that make the situation worse? How does that work?
Well, it's like this, and it's twofold, because you could not resist, and it still end up being worse than what it would if you did resist. One of my examples is this, and this is what I use, and it has helped me before, especially when a cat swung a bat at me years ago, okay? The first thing you do when a person gets aggressive, one thing Chinese philosophy always teaches is be like water. Okay, so say the aggressive person is like fire. Expansive, hot, heat, all of this stuff. The first thing you do, you take that breath. You hold a straight face, okay? Calm yourself, but be resistant for example, like, say for instance, I was sitting in a club, right? I was sitting down, and when I was dancing on the floor, I accidentally bumped into this brother, but I didn't feel it. Okay, I'm kind of a big dude, so sometimes I can bump stuff and knock stuff down and not even notice. So it's like 5 minutes later, I'm sitting down with my date, and all of a sudden this brother comes up. Yo, man, you bumped me on the floor. So I was like, word? Oh, my fault, man. I didn't mean to do that. Well, this, that. So I kept looking the dude in the eye. I was like, so what you want to do, man? I mean, come on, man. I'm just out trying to have fun like you. What I was doing with that is using my calmness to induce in him a sense of calmness.
Okay.
Because if I didn't, then he's going to induce a sense of fear inside of my mind.
So don't par up to the energy. Like if the energy looks like it's a little bit extra, you may not want to match that.
Right, be the opposite, okay? So from there, the guy looked like he wished to swing, but then he thought about it like, yo, this cat is like mad calm. I don't know what he gonna do. But see, if I would have responded in the way that he did, he would have more of the advantage in the situation. Number one, I'm sitting down. Number two, he's already riled up. When you speak in a certain tone and put forth your resistance, you make yourself appear like, okay, you're a joker. I don't know what you're going to do. You see what I'm saying?
So you become unpredictable. So therefore, okay. So
right,
pretty much you just got to stand up. Like if you look at people in their face and letting them know, you're not going to take me for granted or run over me, and you're not moving in that, I guess, in an insecure, unsure energy, then you could, then that backs them down also.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right. I remember a situation too, and where I learned that from, I learned it in martial arts, of course. But the example I seen physically was my brother. Years ago, we were in West Point. And when I say years ago, I mean like years ago. I'm that old.
Okay.
And we were in West Point. We were sitting in the club. And this guy was attempting to take the wallet out of my brother's pocket. So my brother was like, yo, man, what you bumping up against me for? Trying to